Hey, how's it going? Today I'm going to be talking about Tencent Holdings Limited and what that company is. Tencent Holdings Limited, often referred to simply as Tencent, is a Chinese multinational conglomerate and one of the world's largest technology companies. It was founded in November 1998 and is headquartered in Shanghai, China. Tencent is known for its diverse range of products and services, with a significant presence in various sectors, including, let's cover some of those sectors. Tencent Holdings, as a company, we have access to a lot of capital. I'm not entirely sure, it depends, but I believe it's about 700 billion or so of potential access to that amount of money. So to diversify overall portfolio and perhaps making smart investments within the company, some of the people are there. CEO, I like his nickname, who was given by British people money in a way. Uh, he would make a lot of investments in different companies, right? And it's something that worth for people to understand of some of the companies, or perhaps it's not worth mentioning or promoting other companies, but top companies of their technology, most likely technology companies of that, would have some percentage of other companies being investing in those companies, right? Or giving access to some of that capital, right, in return for percentage of that company. Sometimes it can be 40%, so not necessarily controlling entire company, but most of the time there would be other companies that would invest, and perhaps even if I would start a company, well, there would be other technology companies that would be interested in what I'm doing, some other projects. They might be interested in investing in my projects in return for perhaps access to some information that I have, some of the processes in place, or perhaps that could be complementing their own portfolio. So in this particular case, Tencent would be perhaps within the West, it's been defined as super app. So it has market dominance in technology and the way how they have started and how they progress. And it's have started with overall communications. From there, it progressed more into younger audience and video games, I believe, or overall interaction, right? So not entirely video games, but perhaps taking up more attention and different ways how they can progress from communication about what, and more interaction, and how and what some of the projects that they're doing with some of the technologies, but not necessarily limited to that. Perhaps it's more of my personal understanding, as well as some of the investments that they are making, as well as perhaps smart cities, visuals, and all the other things that, or cars, autopilots, and all the other technology companies that may they are investing, but how much information I have access to, right? And sometimes it's just five people talking to each other. It's all knowing what's happening there. Social media and messaging. Tencent owns WeChat, known as Weixin and China, one of the most popular social messaging app in the world. So most of the people might have heard about WeChat. So that would be perhaps in comparison some of the Western brands. So if you would find yourself in the East, perhaps you would know about this app and how much access that app can potentially give to its customers. Making payments, communication, sending videos, ordering taxi, ordering food on top of this app, so-called super app, right? So other companies try to follow this business model and implying this is the same strategies when developing their own apps. But either way, WeChat is not only a messaging app but also a platform for mobile payments, social networking, and more. Gaming. Tencent is a major player in the global gaming industry. It owns significant stakes in several gaming development companies, including Riot Games. It owns 100% of Riot Games. I think it haven't changed, unless there was some changes. But one day I did a lot of research, and some of the most popular, perhaps, would be uh, Unreal. Most of the people might know about this company, and Unreal is been owned by different company. Uh, outright own 100%, and Tencent owns 40% of that company. I can't remember. It's Epic Games, I think it's called. So Unreal has been owned by Epic Games, and Epic Games is owned 40% by WeChat, and WeChat is owned by Tencent. So either way. So so it will come back somewhere. So that I'm saying that most of the people do not do perhaps or perhaps do not have time, or there's hard to understand what's the purpose of that. So once you have a lot of capital, perhaps you would like to diversify your portfolio, as well as once you have a core product, you might be interested in investing in similar projects to supplement your, if you have access to perhaps talent, or so you as a company have access to a lot of capital, but you're looking for perhaps talented people, right? So you might be interested in other projects within the space, and instead of perhaps developing your own chess players within your country, you can just buy some of chess players from other countries, right? So you just buy chess players from China, Russia, other companies, and here you go, US has its own players. In this case, perhaps Chinese people or companies or leaders or organizations would buy top talent from other, so they would have access to those talented people to develop some other projects perhaps together, if that's something that they're interested in doing together. Yeah. As I mentioned, including Riot Games, League of Legends, Supercell, Clash of Clans, and in full owns companies like Tencent Games. It operates various gaming platforms and publishes games internationally. Even though it was recently, they had a lot of pushback coming from government, Chinese government, just because of how many young people were addicted and spending too much time playing video games. So they have received a lot of pushback from local government to limit it, as well as how to control people. So by identifying who would like to play those games, so if anything, there was a lot of obstacles there that as a company we had to overcome when it comes to identifying people. Once they identified, then they were trying to control how many time every individual is spending playing video games, especially younger adults, where they should be focusing on perhaps or developing themselves, so they could be take later on within their life, perhaps taking large roles within governing or perhaps running countries, right? Not necessarily playing video games. I don't know what kind of games they are playing. If it's running restaurants or fruit ninjas. I'm not entirely sure, right? Entertainment. Tencent Pictures is involved in film production and distribution. Tencent Music Entertainment Group is a major player in Chinese music streaming industry. And overall, entertainment and some of the things that they can do with regards to business, perhaps having option for you to insert your ad in already made movie. So if you are interested, you can shout out to this company and they can put ad of your brand inside the already published movie. It could be on a bench, it could be on the truck, it could be anywhere. So it's something new, so something that I never knew. But if you have a business, perhaps other companies would adapt similar models just because of how much can be profitable inserting ads in already made movies, as well as removing perhaps different aspects of the movie. E-commerce. Tencent has invested in various e-commerce companies and operate its own e-commerce platform, including WeChat Play, which facilitates online payments and mobile transactions. I don't know that much, but perhaps it's another way of diversifying and having access to you, perhaps talented teams, as well as some of the IP rights as well. Cloud computing. Tencent Cloud offers cloud computing services, including infrastructure as a service, LaaS, platform as service, PaaS, and software as service, SaaS. Overall, having infrastructure, as well as perhaps something that's currently happening within Europe, and as well as it's happening in other regions, but they and operating slightly differently, if anything. Uh, I'm not entirely sure how much we actually having access to some of the information, what's happening elsewhere, right? So within Europe, can double check all the facts, but I'm not entirely sure what's happening outside the US, Europe, Australia, other regions, right? Artificial intelligence. Tencent involved in AI research and development with application in areas like natural language processing and facial recognition. Just some of those areas, as well as facial recognition, that would be a part of. And right now, there are a lot of funding within this space. So people who are interested or looking or seeking funding, there are some opportunities up there within UK. Some of the organizations who are interested in developing anything, and other organizations potentially can offer you funding to develop something, as well as within Tencent would be within China. They would be, if anything, worth mentioning. They were looking at identifying person, so recognizing the person in the first place and then giving access to that person to whatever has been going on. I don't know if it's for better or for good, but this is what's happening. Financial services. Tencent offer various financial services throughout WeChat Play, including online banking and wealth management services. Worth mentioning, I'm not entirely sure what's happening with social credit and how some of those services can be taken away just because how involvement of the government, what's happening there, right? So if you drop the, I don't know, litter on the street, you can be charged straight away with recognizing your face on the street with the cameras, and what potentially can be not necessarily for better or for good. I'm not entirely sure where we are on this, but some of the changes are taking place in other regions. For people out there who are interested in understanding more where to begin when starting your own business, I have published a book, Game Strategy. In this book, I have shared a lot of information with the people out there who are interested in understanding. Perhaps if you were to begin, you were need to do research in the beginning. From research, if you were to progress to actually taking action and starting your own business from there, if you had extra capital, is something that we're covering within this video. If there are companies, how you can invest in other in other organizations, who those organizations, how they can complement your core business, and how that those organizations can support your business in developing your business model, as well as in improving your already existing products or services. You can find this information in this book. I'm covering in a lot of detail. Same company, Tencent. I have done a lot of work to understand this company. I'm sharing a lot of information in this book. You can find it in the description below, as well as top retailers has it. Tencent is one of the bat companies in China, along Baidu and Alibaba, which are often considered the leading tech giants in the country. It has significant influence not only in China but also globally, with investments in numerous international tech companies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.